Good day, students. Welcome again to an exciting educational video today. This is Dr. Luisito Masanga at your service. Shout out and thank you very much to those students from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao who are faithfully and consistently watching my educational video. To these students, a warm round of applause to all of you. Mabuhay! Our learning outcomes for today, students will be able to understand tropical cyclone, public storm warning signals, and of course, emergency preparedness of what to do before, during, and after a typhoon. Let us discuss what is tropical cyclone. Commonly here in the Philippines, we call it bagyo. It starts, in February, and then it increases steadily by the month of June, and it spikes by July through October, with September being the most active month for tropical cyclones here in our country. And activity tends to decrease or falls off significantly by month of November. But however, these occurrences seems to change because of global warming. Sometimes it is earlier, and in November, like November 8, when we were hit by typhoon or category 5 Yolanda in Leyte. That is November 8. So what is this tropical cyclone? Here is a satellite image of a tropical cyclone. You can see at the center, that is the eye of the storm. This tropical cyclone is a system with sustained winds of at least 118 kph, kilometers per hour. So this eye is relatively calm, and it has a lowest atmospheric pressure at the center of circulation. Surrounding the eye is the eye wall. That is the eye wall surrounding the eye, and the diameter is probably 16 kilometers to 80 kilometers wide, end to end of the eye wall, and in which the strongest thunderstorms and wind circulate around the storm's center. And usually, all weather agency located in Western Pacific classify tropical cyclones as typhoons once it reaches 118 kph. There are so many hazards brought about by tropical cyclones. Example is these strong winds and heavy downpour of rain produces extremely powerful winds and torrential rain. It produces also high waves and damaging storm surge, as well as spawning tornadoes. This tropical cyclone produces heavy rains that can produce significant flooding inland. And storm surges can produce extensive coastal flooding up to 40 kilometers from the coastline. So these hazards, if you are living along coastal lines, so you are vulnerable to storm surges, strong winds, and heavy downpour of rain. So if there is vulnerability plus hazard, and because you have not reacted or prepared for it, your capacity in terms of emergency preparedness, it will result to disaster. Because our formula for disaster is vulnerability plus hazard over capacity or resources is equal to disaster. And in connection to our basic formula for accident, unsafe act and unsafe condition. Meaning to say, the unsafe condition is the presence of the tropical cyclone because it has gustiness of at least minimum of 118 kph. And the unsafe act is that you still did not reacted because of that your capacity to react, and there will result to an accident. So this tropical cyclone produces powerful winds and torrential rain that will cause heavy flooding inlands. And there will be loss of lives and properties if you are not going to have an emergency preparedness. Likewise, this tropical cyclone is a natural phenomenon, meaning to say it has benefits. A tropical cyclone can relieve drought conditions. Like for example, here in the Philippines, every summer, we have scarcity in the supply of our dams and water. No? So that's why Maynilad and Nawasa are rationing the supply of water. And likewise, tropical cyclones help to maintain an equilibrium in the Earth's atmosphere and to maintain a relatively stable and warm temperature across the globe. So, here in the Philippines, we have different public storm warning signals. As you can see, when our Weather Bureau, Pag-asa, announces signal number 1, it means to say that the condition of the wind is 30 to 60 kph, kilometers per hour. And the impact of that is that twigs and branches of small trees may be damaged or broken. Some houses of very light materials can, like for example, made of nipahat or kugon, may be partially damaged or can be thrown out by the wind. So the precautionary measure is that people are advised to listen to latest severe weather bulletin issued by Pag-asa. And signal number 2 is the winds of greater than 60 kph up to 100 kph. So meaning to say a few big trees may be uprooted. The winds may bring light to moderate damage to the exposed communities. Very dangerous. And people traveling by sea and air are cautioned to avoid unnecessary risk, to avoid accident. And once it is signal number 3, the winds of greater than 100 kph and up to 185 kph, signal number 3. There are many widespread disruption of electrical power and communication services. Moderate to heavy damage, particularly in agricultural and industrial sectors. So people are advised to seek shelter in strong buildings, evacuate low-lying areas, and stay away from the coast and river banks because water will rise and it will definitely have, flooding. And of course, signal number 4, very strong winds of more than 185 kph. No? So, therefore, there is also public storm signal number 5, intense winds of more than 220 kph may be expected in at least 12 hours. For signal number 1, we can expect this in at least 36 hours. Signal number 2, we can expect this in at least 24 hours. Signal number 3, we can expect this at least 18 hours. Signal number 4, we can expect this in at least 12 hours also. And signal number 5, we can expect this in at least 12 hours. So it is very, very important that we have emergency preparedness. And we should always follow our local government unit like our municipalities, cities, and local barangay units. What shall we do before a storm? Number one, keep yourself updated. Very important. With the various media platforms, it is next to impossible to not be updated of the supposed typhoon's movement. So let us always monitor and keep ourselves updated. Let us inspect and clean up our house, especially our drainage system, for any clogging. Have them fix or remove any clogging materials that is the root cause of this blockage or clogging. Check to see if there's a need to fix our house, such as, leakage on our roofs, damaged doors, windows, or ceilings. Have them fixed as soon as possible. What to do before a typhoon? Number 3, let us store adequate amount of ready-to-eat foods and water. Make sure that the foods and water that you will store is enough for you and your family and will last for a few days. Ready-to-eat foods such as canned or packed foods are especially helpful when cooking is no longer viable. Number 4, if you have a second or third floors or any part in your house that is elevated, have things, especially those that generate electricity, placed in there. This will keep water from coming in contact with the stuff, especially your important documents, birth certificate, diploma, transcript of records, marriage contract, land titles, etc. Number 5, if you are advised to evacuate, do so. These people who will inform you of the need for evacuation are more knowledgeable than anyone else. No? So don't be, stubborn, or at least not during this time of distress. So it is very important because they are looking for our welfare. Always have your emergency kits with you. Your emergency kit may include first aid supplies, candles, flashlights, life vests, battery-operated radio. That is the things that you need to do before a typhoon. Next, what are the things or activities that we should do during a typhoon? If no advice to evacuate was announced, then better stay inside your house or place of residences. Keep yourself calm and postpone any scheduled travel. Keep on monitoring the typhoon's movement through your television, radio, or the internet. See if you see signs of water rising, better turn off the main sources of electricity, the fuse box or our main circuit breaker. Do keep your electric powered items stored in higher places or areas and refrain from using them during flood. And do not wade along flooded areas to keep yourself from contacting waterborne diseases. No? If it is inevitable, wear protective gears such as raincoats, boots to protect yourself, especially the urine of the rats. No? It's very dangerous. And of course, if you are told to evacuate, please comply calmly. So those are the things that you need to do during a typhoon. And of course, What are the activities or things that you need to do after a typhoon? Number one, you monitor and update yourself with the progress of the typhoon through your radio, television, or the internet. Should this be accessible? If your house was one of the heavily damaged, make sure that to advise, you heed to the advice of the authorities regarding its safety and stability, the experts, no? If they are uncertain of your house's condition, do not go back. If the house didn't have that much damage, have your house inspected and evaluated and do the needed repairs immediately. Just be safe in inspecting your houses and avoid scattered debris. Watch out for live wires or any electrical outlet that may be submerged in water. If you don't have the sufficient knowledge and expertise on electrical wirings, have an expert person inspect this wiring as well as your appliances before you actually use them again. Wear your personal protective equipment or gears such as your rubber boots, waterborne diseases such as leptospirosis, no? Very dangerous. Okay? The bacteria that cause this disease may still be present in moist soil or scattered debris. And if this contacts with your open wound, the chances of developing such disease is very much likely. And of course, boil water before drinking as they may be contaminated, no? So that you will not get any bacteria coming from this, drinking water. Clean up, no? Dispose things that may be a ground for mosquitoes, dengue to breed. Such stuffs may include tires, cans, or pots. So these are the things that you need to do after a typhoon. Of course, these are our sources or references for this lecture. Thank you very much for these references and sources. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing the channel. Till next time, students, keep safe, everyone.